Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I crave your indulgence to rise for the procession of the Vice Chancellor. We will take the national as well as the foot anthems and the Nigerian pledge.
Arise, O compatriots, Nigeria. serve our fatherland with love and strength and faith. The labor of our heroes past shall never be in vain. To serve with heart and might, one nation bound in freedom, peace and unity.
National pledge. Nigerian national pledge. I pledge to Nigeria, my country, to be faithful, loyal, and honest, to serve Nigeria with all my strength, to defend our unity and uphold our honor and glory. So help me God. Nigeria, good people, great nation.
Promoting of unity, of courtesy, championing the cause of technology. The shining example. The pride of Nigeria. With the blessings on our side, we shall go places. Serve with our
May I invite us to respectfully take our seats. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, my Lord spiritual and temporal, leaders of our academic community, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of our Vice Chancellor, Professor Adenike Oladiji, I welcome you to the 166th in the series of the inaugural lecture of our university. Today's lecture with the title, Wild, Wide Cities, a moderating land use management toolkit, will be delivered by Michael Ajide Oyinloye, Professor of Urban and Regional Planning, Land Use Management, Geoinformatic Information. A round of applause for the inaugural lecturer, please. In tandem with the established tradition of our institution, the chairperson of this occasion, who doubles as the leader of our academic community, the very first female vice chancellor of our university, Professor Adenike Temidayo Oladiji, Fellow Academy of Science. Madam Vice Chancellor, you are welcome. With the Vice Chancellor are members of the Corps of Principal Officers of our university. Sitting very close to her is the Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic, Professor Taiwo Timothy Amos. You are welcome, sir. We also have the Deputy Vice Chancellor Development, Professor Sunday Samuel Oluyamo. You are welcome, sir. The Chief Scribe, Registrar, and Secretary to Council of our university, who wears 3 caps, Mr. Charles Olusegun Adeleye. The Chancellor of the Exchequer, Abosa, is today being represented by a director in the bursary, Mr. Peter Oshaduba. The librarian, Dr. Robert Akinade Awoyemi, is also here with us. Let me now introduce the dean of our various schools. They are led by the Dean School of Health and Mineral Sciences, who also doubles as the chairman committee of deans of our institution, Professor Adeleye Yekini Biodun Anifowoshe. You are welcome, sir. The Dean School of Agriculture and Agricultural Technology, Professor Oluwatoyin Faramade Oludaunsi. We welcome you, ma'am. The Dean School of Basic Medical Sciences, Professor Victor Okoliko Ukwenya, you are welcome. The Dean School of Computing, Professor Boniface Kayode Alishe, we welcome you, sir. Dean School of Engineering and Engineering Technology, Professor Peter Kayode Oke, you are welcome, sir. The Dean School of Environmental Technology, the School of the Inaugural Lecturer, Professor Isaac Olaniyi Ajide, you are welcome, sir. The Dean School of Logistics and Innovation Technology is being represented by Dr. Tonia Okankwele, you are welcome, ma'am. The Dean School of Life Sciences is here in person, Professor Michael Olufemi Ashamo, you are welcome, sir. The Dean School of Postgraduate Studies, School of Physical Sciences first, Professor Femi Barnabas Adebola, we welcome you, sir. The Dean School of Postgraduate Studies, Professor Oluayo Bello Olusoji, we welcome you, sir. And the Dean that commands the largest contingent on campus, Dean Student Affairs Division, Professor David Olanriwaju-Oke, we welcome you, sir. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, my Lord Spiritual and Temporal, it is my pleasure to invite to the podium the Vice Chancellor and Chairman of this occasion, Professor Adenike Temidayo Oladiji. Madam Vice Chancellor, ma'am.
Thank you. The Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic, the Deputy Vice Chancellor Development, Registrar, the University Librarian, the Bossa, my Lords Spiritual and Temporal, top government functionaries here present, the inaugural lecturer of today, Professor Michael Ajide Oyinloye, deans, directors, and heads of department, especially the Dean of the School of Environmental Technology, distinguished members of Senate and congregation, eminent scholars and friends of the university, gentlemen of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I am delighted to welcome you to the 166th inaugural lecture of the Federal University of Technology, Akure. I warmly welcome our spiritual and traditional leaders, top government functionaries, captains of industries, friends of the university, and the entire staff and students of the university. I welcome with great pleasure the immediate and extended family members, friends, and well-wishers of the inaugural lecturer. I felicitate Professor Michael Ajide Oyinloye on this academic milestone. May I, at this juncture, request the inaugural lecturer to please rise while I present his citation. Professor Oyinloye, please. Michael Oyinloye was born on the 3rd of August, 1960, in Omuaran, Kwara State. He had his elementary education at St. Paul Anglican Primary School, Omuaran, between 1970 and 1975, and thereafter proceeded to Offa Grammar School, Offa, Kwara State, between 1975 and 1980, where he obtained his secondary school certificate. He furthered his education at the Kwara State College of Technology, Ilorin School of Basic then the School of Basic Sciences, and the school is now the Kwara State Polytechnic, between 1983 and 1985, where he obtained higher school certificate, what we know then as A-level. He later proceeded to University of Ilorin, where he bagged BSc Geography in 1988. After his NYC in 1989, he proceeded to the University of Lagos, Akoka, Lagos, for his master's degree in Geography and Planning between 1989 and 1990. Professor Michael Oyinloye obtained other degrees. He has postgraduate diploma in computer science in 1996, He has postgraduate diploma in education in 1997 from Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife. He also has masters in geographic information system in 1988 from the University of Ibadan, and PhD in urban and regional planning, land use management, and GIS in 2010 from our own Federal University of Technology, Akure. Professor Michael Oyinloye has published several articles in both local and international peer-reviewed journals. He is a reviewer for academic and professional journals, many academic and professional journals. Professor Michael Oyinloye has supervised 9 masters and 2 PhD students to completion. He has served as external and internal examiner at many undergraduate and postgraduate examinations. He has also attended many local and international conferences. Professor Oyinloye belongs to many professional bodies, including being a member, Teachers Registration Council of Nigeria, is a member, Nigeria Cartography Association, is a member, African Association of Remote Sensing of the Environment, is a member, Geoinformation Society of Nigeria, and is a member, Nigerian Geographical Association. Professor Michael Oyinloye has served the university in many capacities, some of which are serving as acting director of Center for Space Research and Application between April and November 2020. He was associate director, Center for Space Research and Applications from 2018. He's a member, University Senate. He was head of Department of Surveying and Geoinformatics, FUTA. And he is chairman, Departmental Curriculum Review Committee. Professor Michael Oyinloye is happily married, and the union is blessed with promising children. The impact of urban expansion on ecosystem health has become a fascinating topic for sustainable development of cities. Meeting the challenges with the pressure of urbanization imposed on the environment requires access to timely and reliable information. The lecture of today will be addressing the problems of rapid city growth using remote sensing and GIS techniques for proper planning of urban land use. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please join me to welcome the inaugural lecturer of today, who will be speaking on wildlife cities, a moderating land use management toolkit. I present Professor Michael Ajide Oyinloye for his presentation.
Professor Adenike Temidayo Oladiji, FAS, the Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic, the Deputy Vice Chancellor Development, the Registrar, other principal officers of the university, deans and directors, members of university senates, distinguished professors, other academic and professional colleagues, my Lord, spiritual and temporal, distinguished guests and friends of the university, gentlemen of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, great Futerian. Permit me to start this lecture with the quotation from the Bible, Psalm 34, verse 19, which says, "Many are the afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord delivers him out of them all. All glory, honor, adoration to Almighty God for giving me the opportunity to deliver the 166th inaugural lecture of this great university titled Wide Cities, a Moderating Land Use Management Toolkit. That I'm alive today is a manifestation of God's goodness and mercy." The Vice Chancellor, let me shock you with a brief story. There was a child that was born over 6 decades ago. His story resembles that of our Lord Jesus Christ, who was born in a manger, Luke 2:7. In the case of this boy, his mother was going to the farm, and she was suddenly pressed on the way. Since there was no opportunity for her to return back to the village to deliver, she quickly branched by the bush path. With the help of God, she took delivery by herself. She eventually gave birth to a bouncy baby boy, Abiona. We wrapped the boy with the clothes and laid him in a calabash and returned to the village. The boy grew up, and with the help of God, he is the one standing tall to present this inaugural lecture. The Vice Chancellor, I consider it a great privilege and honor to stand here before you and this August audience this day, 16th of April 2024, to give a humble account of my academic stewardship from 1991, when I joined the academic world to date. This lecture begins with the historical evolution of cities, explanatory variables of measurement of wide city and urban growth, and its impact on land use pattern in Nigeria. The next session will dwell on the problems of city growth, the Nigerian perspective, the need for a new sustainable urban agenda. I will equally focus on sustainable city planning, a multi-stakeholder city planning, and the mission of sustainable cities. The next major section, which is the core of this lecture, will be on some land use management tools in urban planning, GIS as a tool in land use management, and the remote sensing and GIS interface. It is quite natural that the city of population growth increases the pressure on land, while the non-urban kind is converted into urban areas. Historical evolutions of cities. Historically, the existence of human species has been traced to over 100,000 years ago. Cities evolved only about 10,000 years ago, during the time that systematic cultivation of plants and domestication of animals supported more permanent settlements. The question to follow this position is how city evolves in the first instance. A timely answer to this was provided by Aristotle, the ancient Greek philosopher, when he posted that security was the main reason people stay on to live the good life. Massimo and Padillo 2010. If security was the basis of our ancient cities, it has also been found to still be the driving force for some cities in recent times. Defense and security were the major factors for the emergence of Ibadan as a settlement, Falola 2012. Economic factors were also the basis for emergency and growth of many cities in Europe during the medieval times, that period 2025, cited by Jones 1970. The city of the origin has also been related to the earliest known ideogram. The ideogram is an Egyptian histograph which depicts a cross within a city. With the Industrial Revolution in the 1970s came the growth of cities such as London at a rate never experienced before then. Machione and Pasino 2010. The city grew, but the facilities and infrastructure were not able to meet the demand, accumulating the high level of poverty. Explanatory variables for measurement of wide city. The first explanatory variable is the population of the city. The choice of population is based on the fact that urban centers, both in developed and developing world, attract population in form of rural-urban migration. The second factor in explaining the wide city, associated by Aderamo 1998, is the city level of industrialization. The third factor suggested the commercial cities in the city. This factor is considered important because traditionally, business is associated very closely with the people and also urban growth. There's a close relationship between people, settlement, and commerce. The fourth factor is infrastructure. These are essential services that make the city to function. Among the essential services usually cited in the literature are water, electricity, sewage disposal system, and convenient means of transportation. The fifth factor is the transportation. Transportation has been identified as a catalyst of urban expansion. According to Abel and Clark 1965, automobiles which permit access to remote areas provide the essential conditions which allow expansion to occur. Thus, over time, transport provision has promoted the outward expansion of cities. The sixth variable is education. According to Onokoraye 1984, the successful promotion of development programs depend on the quality of human resources available. Housing as the seventh factor is a basic human requirement. Apart from the protection of its others, housing is viewed in its wider socio-economic context. Housing may serve as a workplace for many families. It can be used as a recreational activity to generate income and to provide storage space for man's valuable possessions. Urban growth and its impact on land use patterns in Nigeria. Two major urban land use features mark urban development in Nigeria. The first is the intensification of land use, which resultant multiplication of the urban spatial structure within the already built-up part of some cities. The second is the outward spread of the built-up part of the center into rural areas. Onokoraye and Omuta 1994. According to them, the identification of land use in urban areas of Nigeria is likely a future or pre-colonial urban center, coupled with the social changes and rapid growth of some of the cities after the establishment of British colonial rule. These innovations took two major forms: a filling up of the pre-colonial open spaces and grow along the vertical. The identification of land use city of Nigeria is not restricted to the pre-colonial ones. It's also a future of modern cities such as Lagos, Enugu, and Port Harcourt, growth by outward expansion of the built-up areas, and contribute largely to the evolution of the contemporary land use pattern in most Nigerian towns and cities, particularly colonial towns, and the most of the rapidly grown pre-colonial ones. The processes of urban land use development in the city of Nigeria, as discussed, has led to the emergence of various types of land use activities in the urban center of the country. Among the dominant land use types in most urban centers in the country are residential, commercial, industrial, public and semi-public, transport and communication, recreational and primary education. Onokoraye, 1994. Problems of city growth, the Nigeria perspective. Nigeria, a nation with a population of more than 200 million, has about 50% of its population living in urban areas. Wahab and UNICEF 2014. This trend has a great implication for the quality of the environment, the need for a sustainable urban agenda. Cities are growing everywhere, but as they grow, their problems become more complicated in so many areas, especially developing African countries. Urban services and housing, social inclusion and insecurity, new challenges are emerging. Even when old patterns persist, these challenges call for a new, sustainable, and more current urban agenda in order to improve structure and control the forces of social, economic, environmental, technological, and political change that are passing through our cities. Ekunjobi 2015, the new sustainable urban agenda. Sustainable urban agenda offers exceptional opportunity to achieve goals by harnessing the transformative forces of urbanization to create and recreate cities that are environmentally sustainable, socially inclusive, violence-free, economically productive, eco-friendly, resilient, and well-connected cities that will sustain rural transformation. Such an agenda must be in tandem with 2030 agenda for sustainable development, particularly Goal 11, to make city and human settlement inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. Sustainable city planning, a multi-stakeholder city planning. The idea of sustainable has become a common word since the Rio Art Summit Conference of 1992. The idea of sustainable implies that you use whatever resources you need without foreclosing the choice of generation from using the same. Mendoza City Environmental Action Committee in 1999 suggested 11 indices of urban sustainable economy and Scenario 2030. These include children in poverty, violence, crime, access to health care, air and water quality, litter, vacant or deteriorating housing, participation in neighborhood organization, money spent in neighborhood, access to public transportation, shopping and other services within walking distances, quality of school, and cultural and recreational activities. Egunjobi 2015, Mission of Sustainable City. Sustainable City is designed to make a minimum footprint on the environment. It introduced to reducing waste, including air, liquid and solid pollutants. Wahab 2014. Perhaps the idea of sustainable city is put as follows: the resilient city, ability to activate, withstand, adapt, respond, and recover from environmental shocks. Others include productive city, the green city, the smart city, the well-governed city, and the inclusive city. Some management tools in urban planning. The major tools for measuring changes in land use and determine the urban growth pattern using statistical models are STATA. STATA is a crucial tool in the dynamic world of urban areas where population fluctuates and patterns change quickly. Others include SPSS, R, MATLAB, Table, Special Analysis and Decision Assistant, SPADA, Transcard, SimCity, Excel, Space Center Software, Pedestrian and Evolution Dynamics Spread, Urban Footprint, EMSON, and OMA. GIS as a tool in land use management. The Vice Chancellor, having discussed some of the tools used for measuring changes in land use management and determining urban growth generally, I would like to discuss the most recent tool used for the same purpose. This tool is the Geographical Information System, GIS. GIS is a computer-assisted system for capturing, storage, retrieval, analysis, and display of spatial data and non-spatial data. GIS as a tool of data management Data analysis and visualization is therefore very helpful in decision-making process, as shown in figure 2. Therefore, the use of combination of remote sensing, GPS, and GIS in mapping and gathering of urban land use management cannot be overemphasized. The Vice Chancellor, over the years, I have contributed in the areas of urban and land use issue using the application of remote sensing and GIS technology. My research can be summarized under the following topics: land use land cover management, environmental monitoring, disaster risk management, urban green space depletion, urban renewal, site suitability and management, infrastructural management, and urban crime and security management. Land use, land cover, and management. The land use and land cover of any particular region is an outcome of both natural and socio-economic factors, and the exploitation by man in time and space. The Vice Chancellor, I have carried out several researches in Akure, the Ondo State capital, particularly on land use changes using geographical information system. The first was the analysis of land use and land cover change and urban expansion of Akure using multi-temporal and multi-source satellite imageries of land in 1972, 1986, and land enhanced mapping of 2002. The results obtained show the build-up area has been growing rapidly for the period of 1972 to 2002. Oyinloye and Kufoniyi, 2011. See figure 3, 4, and 5. Based on the outcome of the result in figure 3, 4, and 5, Oyinloye and Fashakin 2014, AK Oyinloye and Olameju 2017 used Iconos satellite image to model urban growth of Akure, Ondo State capital, to 2022. Based on the urban growth rates obtained in figure 6, the predicted future trend or urban or expansion of Akure for 2002 to 2022 was done using exponential model of Ofred and Bruce 2002. The study was also carried out with use of remote sensing and GIS to monitor the impact of urban expansion on agricultural food production in Calabar, Nigeria. Ogban, Oyinloye, and Aboyeji, 2021. From table 1 below, the various phases of land use type between 1986 and 2018 can be observed. Figure 7 and figure 8 show the land use transition in Calabar between 1986 and 2018. Reduction in agricultural productivity at the top of the ranking with 2.0 mean score indicated a severe effect, while industrialization and increase in social facilities at the least with 2.6 mean score indicating a weak severe effect at its close to moderate effect, more than severe effect as shown in figure 7. Aladekoyi, Oyinloye, and Olanibi, 2016, I said the urban expansion and land use pattern of Ondo Township between 1986 and 2014. It is also that Ondo Town has expanded at a very fast rate, increasing this service area from 1,324.9 hectares in 1986 to 1,743.8 hectares in 2002 and 3,444.6 hectares in 2014, giving expansion rate of 3.9% per annum as shown in figure 10, 11, and 12. So that will determine the average rate of expansion between 1986 and 2014 as shown in figure 13. It's also that Ondo Urban has been expanding radially outwards from the urban center. In another study of our team, Akinbade, Oyinloye, and Olatunji, 2022, assessed the use of remote sensing and GIS to monitor land use and land cover change in Egbeda local government area of your state, Nigeria. Images were classified into build-up area, vegetation, beer surface, cultivation, and water body, as shown in figure 14. Figure 15 showed the spatio-temporal pattern of our sprawl for 3 years, 1984, 2006, and 2018. It shows the direction and pattern at which the urban sprawl was taken. The sprawl was mostly along the 2 major roads toward the north and south of Egbeda local government. Site stability and management. According to Wakan and Kitadi, 1994, facility siting is ecologically significant and has a large impact on surrounding environment. For example, landfills have been known to contaminate drinking water wells, groundwater aquifers, and nearby streams. Oyinloye and Fasakin 2013 examined the selection of waste disposal sites using GIS in Akure, Nigeria. Land Enhanced Thematic Mapping Plus 2002 and Shuttle Radar Topography Mission SRTM 2011 were used to map the most suitable site for waste disposal in Akure. The result indicates that city sites were found within the study area. The most suitable sites in the study area are located at 750 meters to surface water and 300 meters to major and minor roads. which ensure that economic costs of implementation are mutual. The selected area having half slope less than 12%, ensuring infrastructural advantage and minimizing environmental impact. Further to the above, in 2015 carried out a study of how application of GIS could be used for siting solid waste in Ondo State. A dam was also generated, and the result overlay with the derived layer of the built-up area. The final site of the solid disposal is included in Figure 16, where 5 potential suitable sites are overlaid on the elevation map that stay. From the above, it can be observed that the area with 369.223 hectares fall within the suitable area, Emore. However, potential suitable area sites located at Ijebu, Ipele, and Idase fall within the forest reserve, making them unsuitable. Infrastructural management. The provision and management of infrastructure in Nigeria are largely in the hands of the public sector. Adewusi and Akimbogun, 2010. Oyinloye, 2022, investigated the management of infrastructure, building and environmental situation in 11 peri-urban communities in Akure, Nigeria. Empirical analysis showed that individual, families, and development associations are substantially involved in the provision and management of infrastructure with limited government coordination. Building and environmental conditions in the community are very unsatisfactory. Health facility is one of the facilities that are mostly needed by everyone in the society. Due to the importance of the health sector, the Nigerian government at all levels have a share of health management. In 2014, reviewed the discipline and management of health facilities in Akure, Nigeria. It's already revealed that most of the health facilities were clustered in the central ward, where the population was dense, while majority are scattered in the wards outside the central ward. Accessibility in terms of roads to most of these health facilities were very poor. Environmental monitoring and management, coastal zone, and flood risk management in Nigeria. Chancellor? Coastal erosion due to sea level rise along shoreline is becoming problematic, especially in the developing countries such as Nigeria. Martin and Miller, 2005. The natural character of sandy beaches is to change shape constantly and to move landward, retreat, or seaward advance. The changes are caused by variation in the forces that move the sand, such as wind, waves, and current, and by the supply of sand. Martin and Miller, 2005. Oyinloye, Ajide, and Olanibi, 2016, used the capacity of GIS and remote sensing to determine the impact of shoreline changes in Victoria Island in the Teos and local government area, Lagos State, Nigeria. The result of the analysis revealed that between 1962 and 1984, there was loss in land mass and shown in Figure 17, while between 1984 and 2000, there was increase in land gain over time, as shown in Figure 18, while Figure 19 shows the flooded building in 2011. Flood disaster environmental remediation in Kosovo local government area, Lagos State, Nigeria. Similarly, the Vice Chancellor, in one of our studies, we carried out an assessment of environmental impact of flooding on Kosovo local government area of Nigeria, Lagos, Nigeria. Oyinloye, Olamiju, and Ogundino, 2013. The study therefore integrated iconos and landside images of 2010 with spatial resolution of 5 meters and 30 meters respectively. In this way, the land cover map of the study area was generated as shown in Figure 20, while Figure 21 showed the resultant flood map of the study area, showing floodable and swampy land cover. The iconos imagery was also done with the area photograph of the study area to show clearly the encroachment of buildings along the river banks in the area, as shown in Figure 22. Figure 23 showed the area view of buildings submerged by flood in the study area. It showed clearly that buildings are rising inside a meandering and that will soon develop into Oxbow Lake. It's evident from Figure 24 that buildings were built without respect or distance from the rivers and streams. This explains why there are no tarred roads, no good drainage system, and parking facilities in the study area, as shown in Figure 25. Figure 20 showed the height of the study area above sea level. The dam showed that area under study is at high risk. This is because the height of the region is low. Flood risk mapping and vulnerability analysis using GIS. Empirical evidences from Newtown area, Ondo State, Nigeria. The Vice Chancellor? The observed increase in the intensity of the incidence of floods worldwide has been attributed to global climate change and climate variability, which over the past 5 decades have affected many parts of the world. In one of our studies, Oyinloye and Olamiju 2011 investigated the causes of flood disaster and risk level of flood hazard in Newtown, Ondo State, using the capability of GIS and remote sensing to determine this. Figure 27 shows a digital cartographic representation of the elevation of the land at a regularly spaced interval, which is known as a dam. The risk map in figure 28 shows that most of the streets under the study are at right risk, except Opeoluwa, where the risk is low, and as a result of the height of the streets above sea level. The red color area of the map indicates the area at high risk. The yellow region shows the area of medium risk. The blue color indicates low risk area, while figure 29 shows the slope map of the topography of the study area. In this study area, flooding is persistent in districts such as Oladayo, and Oreoluwa, where the topography shows a relatively flat terrain. Disaster risk management, characterization of fire incidents in Lagos, Nigeria. The Vice Chancellor? The effect of fire incidents in Nigeria has been on the increase, especially in the last 3 decades. In our study on characterization of fire incidents in Lagos, Nigeria, we used the structural questionnaire to find out the causes of fire outbreak in the study area, Oyinloye, Olamide and Obe, 2022. Frequency of fire outbreak across the study area through the span of 5 years, 2014 to 2018, as obtained for the Lagos State Fire Services, is as depicted in figure 30. Empirical analysis showed that fire outbreak in the study area within the period of 2014 to 2018 occurred mostly in residential buildings, with 29% of the all incidents, commercial and industrial land use, which make the Lagos Island local government area, the commercial hub of Lagos State, accounted for 25% and 90% respectively of all fire incidents. Government, ministry, departments, and agency accounted for 10%, while recreational health, mixed and educational land use had the least occurrence of fire, with 1% each of fire incidents recorded in the area. Figure 31. This phenomenon suggests that the land uses that attract the use of high electric wattage, heavy industrial machines, and petrochemical products are more susceptible to fire incidents. Fire patterns in the months of the year under consideration are as shown in figure 32. Table 2 shows the leading cause of fire incidents in Lagos Island. Electrical force had the highest percentage of 62.1%, while the untidy connection has 33.9%. Figure 33 shows the example of untidy electricity connection, which could encourage likelihood of a fire outbreak in the study area. An assessment of physical impact of oil spillage using GIS and remote sensing technology, empirical evidence from Jesse Town, Delta State, Nigeria. The Niger Delta region is Nigeria's major productive region for petroleum. The region consists entirely of 7 states of rivers: Bayelsa, Cross River, Akwa Ibom, Delta, Edo, and Ondo. Our study was carried out on the synthesis of the problem regarding the impact of oil spillage that date back to crude exploration in Niger Delta, which started over 50 years ago, Oyinloye and Olamide 2013. The result revealed the classified landside images for 1987 and 2002 and presented in as figure 34 and 35, what the histogram of the classified images for 2024 is shown in figure 37. In figure 37, the red color represents the build-up, midnight, blue shows the oil split area, the blue represents water body, and cyan represents bare land cultivation. Also yellow represents gallery forest, log green shows the light forest, and forest green represents the dense forest. Figure 35 and 36 show the area affected by oil spillage in 1987, 2002, and 2004, while table 3 shows the summary of oil spillage for Jesse in 1987, 2002, and 2004. Characteristics and vulnerability of houses under high tension power in Akure, Nigeria. The Vice Chancellor? We carry out a study that combined the social service research method with GIS analysis and remote sensing data to assess the characteristics of resident and vulnerability of houses under the 330 kV overhead power line in Nigeria, Oyinloye and Olamide 2015, Olamide Oyinloye and Dumeri 2022. The power line runs across Akure from northeast through southeast over a distance of about 10 kilometers. Figure 37, 38, 39, and 40 show the buffering operation at 50 meters, 100, 150, and 200 meter distances respectively. Figure 4, from table 4, the total number of buildings encroached on power line corridors are 206, 267, 330, 315, with percentage of 18.7, 24.3, 28.4, and 28.6 respectively. In addition, figure 41 shows the combined section of 50, 100, 150, and 200 meter buffer corridors in the study area. The total number of buildings in the combined buffers is 1,101. Figure 42 shows auto repairing organizing, block making, and residential activity in the study area. While figure 43 shows farming activities in the corridor. Pipeline of way encroachment in Arepo, Nigeria. The Vice Chancellor. Nigeria is the largest oil producer in Africa and the 11th largest globally, and all remain the mainstay of the nation's economy. This sector has remarkably brought buoyancy to the country's economy. Okoli and Oriya 2013, Oyinloye and Landuse 2007 used remote sensing and GIS technology to assess the level of vulnerability of people living along in Arepo, Ogun State, Nigeria. A satellite images of the community was acquired and processed using ArcGIS computer software and shown in figure 44. Figure 45 shows the buffer distances from the pro at 15 meters, 30 meters, 60 meters, and 90 meters representing the zones of vulnerability, respectively. Table 4 shows the buffer distance and the total number of encroached buildings in the pro. Figure 46 illustrates people scooping petrol during the oil spillage in the study area. This indicates that whenever there was oil spillage, at least some residents saw it as an opportunity to vandalize the pipeline to gain from black market sale. Environmental pollution of health risk of residents living near Ewekoro cement factory, Ewekoro, Nigeria. The Vice Chancellor, I have the opportunity to conduct a study on the effect of environmental pollution and health risk of residents living near Ewekoro cement factory, Nigeria, in 2015. The study was divided into 3 zones: the curve, the periphery, and the outskirts, as shown in figure 47. The curve zone represents area less than 1 kilometer. The periphery zone represents area within 1 kilometer to 5 kilometers. While the outskirts zone is that area which is above 5 kilometers. The research in table 5 shows the buffering and extracting buildings that are less than 1 kilometer to the factory, within the 1 kilometer to 5 kilometers, and above 5 kilometers to the factory. It is evident in figure 48 that most of the buildings near Ewekoro cement are affected by pollution. Figure 49 shows the pollution effect of water body in the environment. It is clearly shown in figure 51 that areas that are less than 1 kilometer are prone to the noise pollution effect. From figure 52, 986 buildings were outlined out to fall within the 1 kilometer to 5 kilometers from. It is clearly shown in figure 33 that not only areas that are less than 1 kilometer are prone to the air pollution effect. Areas that fall within 1 kilometer and 5 kilometers on the average are highly prone to air pollution. It also describes that the rate of air pollution depreciates with respect to distance from the factory. Figure 54 adequately explains the radiation of health challenges across the whole community. Cough catarrh is the most prevalent health challenge, which is caused due to increase the amount of dust particles represented in the atmosphere. Vulnerability of residents living near mobile phone mass station in Akure, Nigeria. In Nigeria, global system for mobile communication (GSM) began in August 2001 and changed the face of information and communication technology in Nigeria. Oyinloye and Ajide 2000 to carry out a study with the use of GIS and global position system. The study was to find out if there is any health hazard affecting residents or people living near mass and its implication on the environment and the people of the area. From the figure on table 6, it is quite obvious that sleep disturbance is the major health risk experienced by the residents living near the location of the mass in the study area. Table 7 shows the distance of building relative to the location of the mass. This means that majority of the people lived under the influence of health risks resulting from the operation of the mass in the study area. Figure 55 showed a mass located very close to the main building, while figure 50 showed a mass sharing the same water tank of the building in the study area. Figure 57 is the digital elevation of the map of the study. Figure 58 showed the digital elevation of the study, where red region shows the area where mass stations are not visible to one another, in which case the radiation going out is very minimal and less hazardous. The green region shows the area where mass stations are visible to one another and radiation level very high. As a result of this, the health hazards are very high in this study. Modeling urban green space depletion in Akure, Nigeria. The rapid encroachment of urban land use on urban green spaces and at the rate at which green spaces are being lost remain key issues for physical development of urban region. Buildings, roads, bridges, and land reclamation and concrete landforms are replacing vegetation. In a study Oyinloye, Onisa, and Olisa 2023, carry out a study of modeling the changing patterns of green space depletion in Akure, Nigeria. The result of the image classification chart of the green space and building broad area for 1984, 1991, 2002, 2015, and 2002 are shown in figure 59, 60, 61, 62, and 63. The analysis of the analysis images in figure 64 revealed that the contraction and worsening significantly since 1991. Urban green space, grass, shrubs, light vegetation, secondary vegetation, and dense vegetation significantly degraded as a result of various land use development in Akure metropole. Urban renewal strategies in developing nations. A focus on Makoko, Lagos State, Nigeria. The Vice Chancellor? One of our most remarkable developments in the world, especially since 1980s, is the rapid urbanization. Urbanization in Nigeria is characterized by economic growth without development. In our study on urban renewal, Oyinloye, Olamide and Popola 2017, Makoko, which is an integral part of the Lagos community in terms of its population and economy of Lagos State, was chosen as our study. Our study, therefore, was to examine the urban renewal activities and the effectiveness in Makoko. Because the table 8 showed the housing condition in the study area. 80% of the people refuse dumping to dispose solid waste, because that's figure 55. Observation showed that the residents dump their waste directly into the lagoon as a means to reclaim land portion from it. Because 66 and 67 showed the search for water and state of water facility in Makoko. The overlay operation was performed on two map data sets, namely buildings and pollution map. The pollution map is shown in figure 58, while the overlay of the pollution map and the building map is depicted in figure 69. From figure 69, the analysis showed that about 16.7% of Makoko was fairly polluted, 33.3% highly polluted, while about 50% was much polluted. Generally, all the buildings were located in polluted areas, as shown in figure 69, but the majority was located in highly polluted area. Urban crime, security, and management. The rate, extent, and dimension which insurgency have taken place in Nigeria this day have left the populace and all stakeholders in the serious concern as to what the future of Nigeria state may look like in the nearest future. The Vice Chancellor? I was privileged to be involved in a project titled Development of a Geospatial Technology-Based Information System for Crime Management in Southwest Nigeria, founded by TEC4 between April 2020 and September 2021, Oyinloye and others, 2023. The project was informed by the increasing scale of insecurity ravaging Southwest Nigeria that was posing a threat to the unity and corporate existence of Nigeria as a sovereign state. The problem of crime, particularly the kidnapping for money or ritual killings, insurgency due to herdsmen farmer conflicts, overgrazing land and armed robbery, was almost becoming a daily occurrence in the region. One of the achievements of the project was the use of geospatial technologies to integrate spatial-temporal crime in all the 6 states in Southwest Nigeria. Historical crime data from January 1972 to April 2021 were compiled and updated with rigorous field survey as shown in figures 70 and 71 respectively. The finding revealed that armed robbery, assassination, and cultism were more pronounced in Lagos and Ogun State, as shown in figures 72 and 73. Similarly, incidents of farmer herdsmen conflicts were observed on Yon and Ogun State, as shown in figures 74 and 75. Increased incidents of kidnapping, assassination, and armed robbery cases are very prominent in Ondo and the Ekiti State. See figures 76 and 77. Most of the violent crime incidents took place along the highways, with the forest serving as hideout. Figures 78A to C. So the crime hotspot detected and mapped in Southwest Nigeria. The results of analysis on the causes of high violent crime incidents in the Southwest Nigeria are shown in figure 79. A large proportion, 30.77% of respondents post that the high rate of unemployment is dominant cause of increase in violent crimes. Conclusions and recommendations. Conclusion. The Vice Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, the tremendous expansion that the city experienced has created environmental degradation consequent to the growth of the city. There are dense agglomerations of people and economic activities associated with urban expansion impose pressure on the environment that can shape the physical landscape and functioning state of the ecosystem. Vice Chancellor, my modest contribution was aimed at establishing scientific base for solving the added problems of rapid city growth, using remote sensing and GIS techniques for proper planning of urban land uses. The Vice Chancellor, in order to enhance the functionality of city growth and reduce the social problems as revealed by this lecture, I am advancing the following recommendations. 1, regulating land acquisition for sustainable urban growth. One of the major types of environmental degradation associated with the land acquisition is the uncontrolled intensification of land acquisition within the built-up areas. The land acquisition in this area took place without any attempt at regulating it. In the light of this, I recommend that the local government should exercise control over private land use through zoning. 2, promoting housing quality. The existing land use of our cities are essentially residential with other complementary urban components punctuating the whole area. As regards this problem, an improvement of the existing houses in our cities, aided self-help can be of great value in mobilizing and directing human investment in urban housing. Number 3, promoting efficiency in planning administration. There is yet to be a policy for urban and regional development of the country, or a clear out delineation of responsibility as far as physical planning is concerned. The inability of the local planning authority, prior to the 1992 planning law, to perform efficiently in the control of city growth, development, and over-planning has been identified as a big problem. The problem confronting effectiveness of planning administration requires new arrangements to be made for physical planning in our cities and towns. Number 4, regulating land use for urban growth. Most of our cities are undergoing and rapidly urbanization with attendant urban growth problem. In order to control and mitigate the negative outcome of urban growth and expansion, adequate and efficient development plan should focus on the way to sustain the present and future needs of the society through sustainable development. Mr. Chancellor, this can only be achieved by taking an inventory of all of the available resources and planning for their present and future use. 5, enhancing effectiveness of land use monitoring. Several studies have shown that there is increased tendency for people to ignore environmental constraints and hazards such as poor drainage, floods, and natural erosion in their land use decision. This is a repercussion on private developers ignoring flood hazard and constructing residential buildings along the floodplains of cities is a clear example. Therefore, enhanced effectiveness of land use, effective monitoring using GIS and remote sensing will enable policymakers formulate appropriate policies and action plans to prevent environmental degradation and encourage effective management of land use changes for sustainable development. 6, promoting urban agriculture. The Nigerian populace is at large is probably facing the current problem of low agricultural production, food shortage, and inflated prices of foodstuff, because the major decision that could pull us out of this mess quickly has not been taken seriously. Therefore, the continuous loss of agricultural lands to urban development should be rationally resolved so that good agricultural land can be harmonized with urban development. Finally, the Vice Chancellor, I strongly recommend regional or sub-regional efforts to run regional and sub-regional trainings through centers of modern technology of surveying and mapping, such as photogrammetry and remote sensing, should continue to be encouraged in our institutions. This will help harness scarce resources to get the best up-to-date training for our country, so as to have indigenous manpower to protect the environment, exploit its natural resources, improve its economic and food production capacity, so that our country will be self-reliant and self-sufficient. Acknowledgement. The Vice Chancellor, in the word of a song that says, "To God be the glory, great thing he has done," I lift my voice to praise and worship him. I am mostly grateful to the King of Kings because standing here today to celebrate my academic achievements would not have been possible without the mercy and faithfulness of the Almighty God. I thank him for the privilege and opportunity of good education and grace to deliver the 166th inaugural lecture of this great university. To God alone be all the glory, honor, and adoration. I also thank my parents. My parents, Pa Jacob Aremu Oyinloye, and Mama Dorcas Abalaji Oyinloye, both of blessed memory, who nurture me and ensure that I succeed in life. For my father and mother, there's so much to say about them. As I mentioned in my tribute to my mother in 2017, the two of you are very wonderful parents who highly value your children's welfare and education. To my mother, Iya Maria, you are more than a mother to me. You are a mother to me and my sibling. The lesson I've learned from you and what I've heard as my core values, and I've lived by them. Your impact ever remains with me. I will ever remember and salute you because you gave me the best for me to attain the peak of my career and my other achievement in life. I also express my profound gratitude to all my siblings for their support and prayers. Mr. and Mrs. J. Olarewaju, Mrs. Sarah Ijabo Olarewaju, a generous and wonderful sister and mother, Dr. and Dr. Mrs. S.A. Atolagbe, under whose watch I carry out my undergraduate studies. My sister, Dr. Mrs. Maria Benoade Atolagbe, supported me to gain admission to the University of Ilorin. I am particularly grateful to her. Your great kindness and personal concern for my success in life will forever remain fresh in my memory. I also appreciate Mr. Johnson Adebowale Oyinloye, late, for his support before death took him away on August 4, 2020. My program actually goes to a world-class scholar and my mentor, Professor Raphael Olaniyi Oyinloye, who supported my MSc program and research works as a matter of Lagos. He spent his time and energy in guiding and encouraging me to date. As well as appreciate Mr. Oladere and Mrs. Deborah Ajiboye, Mrs. Elizabeth Omolade Okon, and Mr. Shegun Olakunle Oyinloye for their support. May God bless you all. I appreciate my in-laws, Mr. and Mrs. Dapo, Olonoda, Mr. and Mrs. Adeyemi, who nurtured and gave me my precious wife for marriage. Mr. and Mrs. Eso Olonoda, late Mr. Rufus and Mrs. Titi Olonoda, and Mrs. Joke Ogunleye. I appreciate my uncle and his wife, Dr. and Dr. Mrs. Adedayo, who assisted me greatly during my prosperity program. May God bless them richly. I am most indebted to God's general and spiritual leader in my church, First Square Gospel Church, late Reverend Wilson Badejo, General Overseer, who ordained me as a Reverend in 2005. Reverend Felix Medwoye, General Overseer, and my current General Overseer, Reverend Dr. Sam Aboyeji. I also appreciate all my past district overseers. And my current district overseer, Reverend Dr. and Reverend Mrs. Oluwafemi Adeboyejo. I'm greatly indebted to the past vice chancellors of this great university, late Professor A. Ilemobade and Professor L. B. Kolawole, who accepted my transfer from Adeyemi College of Education as lecturer 2 in 1999. Professor Peter O. Adeniyi, my referred lecturer at the University of Lagos, who granted me support for University Conference in 2005. He equally allowed me on pilgrimage to Jerusalem after my return from an international conference in 2005. I also appreciate Professor A.M. Balogun, late Professor A.G. Daramola, who appointed me as pioneer acting head of survey and geomatics. Professor Joseph Adeola Fiwakwe, who appointed me as associate director in CESRA for 2 successful tenures of 2 years each, and acting director for 3 months. Professor J.A. Fiwakwe announced my promotion to the grade of a professor, especially appreciated. I thank most especially the current vice chancellor, Professor Adenike Temidayo Oladiji, the 8th substantive and first female of VC of FUTA. You are a woman of destiny, and you have proved yourself, your leadership capability, since you assumed duties as VC close to 2 years now. I appreciate all the staff of the VC office. Similarly, I appreciate the past and present VC officers in the university. My sincere appreciation goes to the Provost College of Health Sciences and all deans in the university. I also thank the directors of different centers for their efforts and support for my support. My friend and associate from Ordan University, I also appreciate it. Dr. S.A. Akintunde, Acting Deputy Vice Chancellor, Adeyemi Federal University of Education, Ondo, all academics of Adeyemi Federal University of Education, Ondo, I appreciate them all. My special appreciation also goes to the Dean of the Schools of Environmental, Professor I.O. Ajide, and all the past deans, Professor R.B. Vatuyi, who defied all odds to bring me to FUTA. Professor D.O. Olarewaju, a father and a mentor, who equally supervised my PhD. Professor Julius Olubunfasaki, my lovely brother, a unique mentor and visionary leader. I.K. Kashib, I.K. Ogushemi, Ogundiele, Olujimi, Kolawole, and Professor E.A. Adeyemi. My friend goes to all other professors in the school, past and present. I equally appreciate my colleagues and the non-teaching staff in the school. God bless you all richly. As I thank the head of the department in the School of Environmental for their cooperation and support. May God continue to bless and enrich you in your service to humanity. Appreciation also goes to my wonderful colleagues in the Department of Urban and Regional Planning. I equally thank all members of the Ondo State chapter of the Nigeria Institute of Town Planners, in particular the current and the past chairman and members of the ESCO of the state chapter. I should also call it goes to Obadeshi that lay out landlords, a fellow landlord association, for their wonderful neighborliness. God will continue to keep and protect us in Jesus' name. I appreciate all my colleagues from secondary school days at prestigious of a grammar school of Akwa State, particularly the 1975 to 1987. God bless you all. Special thanks goes to my beloved brethren and family from the Four Square Gospel Church, Akure District. God bless you all. To my lovely biological children, Engineer Samuel Oluwatobiloba Oyinloye, Barrister Tinola beloved Oyinloye, Dr. Turilope Precious Oyinloye, and Mr. Emmanuel Oluwatimileyin Oyinloye. May the Lord, my God, bless you and all make you fulfill your glorious destinies in Jesus' name. Finally, I want to appreciate my dear wife, Reverend Dr. Oyenike Alake Oyinloye. Oyenike Alake, ọmọlóbì alede, ọmọlóbì oṣugbaro, ọmọlóbì tó ṣe ẹnu ẹnu, ọmọlóbì wọ pọkipọki wọ, ọmọlóbì wọ kiripọki wọ, ọmọlógbó àpọnrẹ, ọmọ ẹrú rẹ ẹwẹ mọtìchókì, mo kí ọ sílé bàbá rẹ o. You are my kidney, you are my heart, you are my kidney, you are my counselor, you are my confidant. I thank you most sincerely for your love, cares, prayers, support, and sacrifice all the times. A woman of faith and prayer warrior. Your presence is an epitome of God's favor and true portrait of virtuous woman in Proverbs 31. May the Lord God increase you 1,000,000 times more and make you enjoy the fruit of your labor in Jesus' name. Unto the King of Kings, the only wise and visible God, be glory and honor forever and ever. Amen. The Vice Chancellor. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for listening.
We can please be seated. Another round of applause for our inaugural lecturer. We don't expect less from him. He's from the Better by Far University, University of Illinois. And a distinguished professor of great footer. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is customary when we have inaugural lecture like this to recognize some dignitaries in our midst. The inaugural lecturer has recognized many, so you will pardon us, we will just recognize a few of our dignitaries here present. We'd like to start with our elders in the house. Today we have a big fish, one of our big elders, Professor Emmanuel Adedayo Fashake, is a former acting vice chancellor here in Futa and the pioneer rector of Federal Poly Leoluji. Thank you very much, sir, for coming back to us. We also have in our midst today Professor Tolu Lokpe Lawrence Akinbogo, former DVC Development. Is from the School of Environmental Technology. I think that's, he's always coming, but he came more powerfully today. Professor Deji Rufus Ogunsheyemi, former DVC academic here in Futa, also from the School of Environmental Technology. I think the school is the powerhouse of Futa. Professor Joseph Akinyede, retired. He's the former director of Sestra Futa. Thank you very much, Prof. We appreciate you. Thanks for coming. Professor Matthew Oluwamukomi is the former chairman of Council, Federal Polytechnic, Ida, Kogi State. Thank you for always coming, sir. Professor Olan Rewaju, the former Dean School of Environmental Technology, Futa. Thank you very much, sir, for coming. Professor Raphael Niyi Oyinloye from Leeds City University, Ibadan. Thank you, Prof. All the way from Ibadan. Thank you for coming. Dr. Mrs. Fashakin. She is the wife of Professor Fashakin and the former principal of Futa Secondary School. Thank you, Madam, for coming. Professor Isa Bolaji Kashim, also the former Dean School of Environmental Technology. Professor Kashim, thank you, sir. Where is it? And we also have Professor Festus Ademola Ayesami. He's a big man. He's the former chairman committee of this. Professor Ayesami, thank you very much, sir. We have in the house Venerable Reverend Professor Akinla Saidi, former chaplain, Chapel of Faith, Futa. Thank you, Daddy, for always coming. We have some of our directors also in the house. Thank you all for joining us. Today we also have Reverend and Reverend Mrs. Olufemi Adeboye, J.O. Reverend and Reverend Mrs. Adeboye. Thank you, sir and ma, for coming. Welcome, sir. We appreciate you for coming. It's the district overseer for Foursquare Gospel Church, Nigeria, Akure District. Thank you so much, sir and ma. Pastor Mrs. Adebayo Olaoluwa. Pastor Mrs. Adebayo Olaoluwa, thank you for coming, ma. Deacon Olu Olorunda. Mr. Shegun, thank you, Deacon Olorunda. Mr. Shegun Oyinloye. Mr. Shegun Oyinloye. Mr. Lasun Ajeni Fuja Popola. Thank you, sir. Mrs. Taye Okon. Thank you, madam. Mr. and Mrs. Ajiboye, we recognize you and we thank you for coming. Thank you, sir and ma. Mrs. Sarah Olanrewaju, we thank you, ma, for coming. Dr. Mrs. Atolagbe, did you recognize? Thank you, ma, for coming. Also today we have in our midst Dr. Tolu Precious Oyinloye, daughter of inaugural lecturer. Thank you very much. Dr. Oyenike Oyinloye, she here. Friends and family members of the lecturer, we recognize you. Friends and family members of inaugural lecturer, academic and professional colleagues of the lecturer, we thank you for coming. We also want to recognize the Unilore Alumni Association. If you are Unilore alumni, please wave your hand. Thank you very much. I join you to wave hand. Foursquare Church members, if you are here present, please wave and you are recognized. Thank you very much for coming. Today we have in our midst also somebody whom the inaugural lecturer described as his heart, his kidney, his counselor, his confidant. And Yoruba will fail me if I also want to read the Oriki of Oyenike Alake, the wife of the inaugural lecturer, Dr. Oyenike Oyinloye. Please rise for recognition. Thank you, ma, for being the heart and the kidney of our inaugural lecturer. Please, you may be seated, ma. I've often said that all women should ask their husband to go and give inaugural lecturer so that we will see how they will describe them. We will be surprised some of the things we will hear. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we recognize and thank all gentlemen of the press, and we thank the most important group of persons here present today, great Futarians. You are truly great. Thank you for coming.
I extend courtesies to Professor Efo Kufoniyi. I have a couple of announcements before we call it a day. I'm told that everybody, after the aggression of the Vice Chancellor and the entourage, please kindly resume your seat. Some persons will come to attend to you. distinguished ladies and gentlemen, my Lord spiritual and temporal, great Futarians, great Futarians, great Futarians. Shall we rise for the Futa as well as the national anthem of Nigeria? Remain standing for the procession of the Vice Chancellor to leave the auditorium. We all remain standing while the procession of the Vice Chancellor make its way out of the auditorium. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, kindly resume your seat while our professors make their way out of the auditorium where I'm pointing, my only professors. Every other person, kindly resume your seats. Other directive will be given. All we like